All right, Super Bowl versus
You're not
the
going to win this
Saints.
one. All right, I am going to make a case for the Saints as Super Bowl contenders.
Okay.
I barely need to make a case. I'll just show you the newspaper if those still exist. Like, just show you the facts. The 4th best DVOA through 2 weeks ever. That's just total efficiency. Offense, defense. Number 1 in offense by far, almost double the rest of the league. Number 3 on defense. If you look at the rest of the top 10s in terms of the first 2 weeks of the season of like who's been the best through 2 weeks, the average win total for those 10 teams over the course of a season is 13. So by average, if you start this well, you end up about a 13-3, 13-4 season. Any team that wins 13 games is a Super Bowl contender. The eye test, it's just there. They're cohesive. You watch the running game, they're just moving. It's fantastic. They've got leaders on the defense with DeMario Davis, Honey Badger, Alontae Taylor is playing out of his mind. And then there's something they call in New Orleans, Creole culture, lanyap. It's just like a little extra.
Mr. Rosenthal, can you explain to the court what this is?
Okay. It's like Supreme Justice Potter Stewart said what lanyap is, rather. Lanyap is it's just a little extra. It's like a little extra something. Could be like a little extra gift.
How is that spelled exactly?
LANGNIAPPE. Pretty good. I don't know if that was right or not, but I tried. Just a little something extra. And this team has that. You can just tell by looking at them. They've just got a certain energy, a certain sort of juice. It's like I was saying, Supreme Justice Potter Stewart, one of your old coworkers, said about porn, actually, in the 1964 Supreme Court case, Jacobellis versus Ohio. You know it when you see it. And we all see it with this Saints team.
What a great reference. Okay, so Ms. Rodriguez?
Oh, actually, Greg's arguing against himself. So.
Okay.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so he'll win one. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I'm torn about this Saints team. I'm going to argue against this Saints team, too.
Okay.
I don't know.
This is so confusing.
What is happening here? We're in extended preseason. Everyone talks about like the preseason matters. Like, am I really going to fall for this Saints team? That 2 weeks ago, no one liked this Saints team. They were totally forgotten. The coaches all wanted, the fans all wanted the coaches fired. No one was happy with Derek Carr. It's Derek Carr. We do have like a 10-year track record here with Derek Carr. Do we really want to believe in it? Trevor Penning, everyone's talking about him as like, okay, it's this great rejuvenation story. PFF has him ranked 58th out of 71 qualifiers in terms of his pass protection. At some point, they are going to have to pass protect and not just win, scored 30.
All over the place.
I mentioned that DVOA stat earlier. Some of the teams ahead of them on that list include the 2019 Patriots. Remember them? Tom Brady's last season there. They started out 7-0. They totally petered out. The Miami Dolphins over the last few years. You remember like how they started a house on fire? These teams were interesting. They were kind of fun. They weren't real Super Bowl contenders in the end. This is just a fun story. Furthermore, the prosecutor went to Tulane and had season tickets to the Saints back in the 90s, so he's biased.
Can the judge and jury object here? I would like to object to that.
I'm dying to see who wins. I hope it's Greg.
Okay, so Mr. Rosenthal, what you're saying is Derek Carr will finally get a playoff win in this. Yeah, correct? Okay. I will say that the court did think coming into the season that the Saints seem to be one of the most boring teams in the NFL in terms of pop and storylines and excitement. And then once the season started, it's been the complete opposite. No offense has looked better. Now Clint Kubiak is being crowned as like the best play caller. Derek Carr is being aggressive. He's taking shots downfield. Their offensive line can cover up some of those liabilities in the pass protection with the ground game that they have, and Alvin Kamara has been insane. He's been great. Sure, the defense is older, but they're wiser. And you mentioned so many of these players. Cam Jordan obviously is a cornerstone of this defense, but don't forget about DeMario Davis. He seems to be one of the most underrated
Mhm.
linebackers in the entire league. They're stacked with versatile DBs. I can't decide how winnable this division is because the Bucs and Baker Mayfield, they look good again. And then what the Falcons did to the Eagles, can't really talk about it.
What happened?
I shudder. I shudder. But
It's a Super Bowl contender, though. Just a Super Bowl contender.
Super
That's all
Bowl
we're saying.
I hope you win this, Greg.
Yes.
contender, we, judge and jury, in the case of the Super Bowl versus the New Orleans Saints, find the Saints guilty of being contenders.
Yeah.
Greg
there we go.
wins.
Greg, you won.
There we go.
Rosenthal v. Rosenthal. What a joy it was
What a win for
to
you.
watch Greg
Go at Greg.
The two
debate
sides.
himself.
It's the two sides.
I got to witness that. I feel joy.
This is that team that's like, I don't know what to do with this, like 2 weeks. And that's why I was like, when I thought about them, it's like you could present either side so strongly.
Yeah,
but
they're just
they have been fun. Like if you wanted to make a negative, maybe you could say Clint Kubiak, first week's Panthers, and then second week is Mike Zimmer, a guy he saw operate in Minnesota when he was his offensive coordinator for 3 years in the building. But they passed the eye test. I like being so dumb.
I know how much you love the Saints too. Like when you talk about New Orleans, it's just a whole separate thing.
I just think it's great to approach this the same you would on like Pink Floyd on DVD. Pop a gummy and enjoy the ride. This Saints team is fun. Lean into it.
So fun.